Hey guys, my name is Haley and today I will be filming my May wrap-up. And I apologize in advance if I sound extra nasally because my allergies are just being obnoxious. So I'm so sorry. So this month I decided to reread one of my favorite series from middle school and early high school years, which was quite the undertaking because it's a 10-book series. But I was really scared that I wasn't going to like it as much and it wasn't going to live up to what it was in my head, but man, it definitely did, and I was so happy because I've always told people this is one of my favorite series. Book number 1 is The Merchant of Death, and this is also a bind up with book 2, The Lost City of Far. Also, I tabbed them this time around, and let's just say the farther on in the series you get, the more tabs there are, because I'm obsessed. Books 3 and 4, The Never War and The Reality Bug. Book 5, Blackwater, which has always been one of my favorites, hence the tabs. Book 6, The Rivers of Zada. Book 7, The Quillian Games. And from, I think, book 7 onward, there were things that I just did not remember reading. And I think it's because I didn't reread these ones, but the first couple I did reread when I was waiting for the last couple books to come out. Because I think I caught up around the time this one came out in 2006. So I caught up around this time. Book 8, The Pilgrims of Rain. Yes, these next couple do not match the rest of the series. And yes, I'm very annoyed by it, but one day maybe I'll buy the matching copies. Book 9, Raven Rise, which this one actually might have been my favorite because it was the most fast-paced and I didn't remember anything, and so much happens and I was just so excited about it. Book 10, The Soldiers of Hala, which is also tabbed to infinity. This book series is called the Pendragon series. It's by DJ McHale. And I found it, I think I just found it at a Barnes & Noble back in the early 2000s when I was in middle school and early high school as I was reading the last couple. And I actually never owned the last 3 because I borrowed them from my friend as they were coming out, and I read them immediately, and I don't think I ever reread them, which is why I don't remember a whole lot. But this is one of those series that I just want to shout at everyone to just read it because it's so good. My love for these characters and these worlds, and it's such an interesting topic. Basically, it follows the life and times, if you want to be cheesy, of Bobby Pendragon, who starts off as a 14-year-old boy who's this really popular jock in school, and the book starts off with him kissing his crush and whatever, and his uncle comes to take him away and says people need his help, so he goes with his uncle, who's always been one of his favorite family members, and he gets thrown into this world of just different territories. He finds out that the world is made up of 10 different territories. He has to travel through these flumes to find and help each of these territories at a turning point, because there's an evil traveler out there, which is what he is, they're called travelers. There's an evil traveler out there called Saint Dane who's trying to throw Hala, which is everything, all life, all worlds, all territories, to just destruction. He's basically trying to destroy everything. And Bobby's been chosen as the lead traveler to stop all of this. And it's one of the most epic, fantasy stories I've ever read, and I love it so much, and I just wish more people would read it. And it makes me so sad, because a lot of people are real iffy about it, because it starts off sort of middle grade time period, because Bobby is 14 when it starts. So all of the books say ages 10 and up, because it is kind of violent, it gets really violent at a certain point. I might actually end up doing some sort of series review of this, just to form a more coherent words and explanation of what it is, so I can hopefully get more people to read it because it's so good. That took me the majority of the month because those books get longer as it goes on, and there's 10 of them, so it kind of consumed my life, but I was enjoying every second of it. But I also read The Bondage Breaker by Neil T. Anderson. If you're a Christian and you've ever been interested in like psychology, almost is what a lot of what he covers in this. It's like a Christian view of a lot of psychological problems that people deal with, and I just think it's a must read for any Christian that is remotely interested in that, because I have a friend who is a psychology major. She just graduated, and I've recommended this to her because I think she would love it because it's so interesting. I also read this little Matt Redman book called The Heart of Worship Files. It's basically a bunch of little tidbits about being a worship leader from a bunch of worship leaders in like more contemporary Christian artists and stuff, and it was put together by Matt Redman. Very unexpectedly, I somehow, actually I know how it happened, my friend had them with me while we were house sitting, and I just picked it up and read them straight through. But I read volume 1 of the black editions of Death Note, which is volumes 1 and 2. And I fell in love with this. Like, I've never read a manga before. I don't even really read that much graphic novels and stuff, but I've heard such good things about this, and these are just gorgeous with the black end pages and everything. And I have been interested in watching the show, but I didn't want to do that without reading these first. So I think I'm going to read all of the black editions. And I really loved it. Like, I think it's such a cool, the concept of the Death Note itself is such a cool, like, premise for a story. I also read volume 2 of the black editions, which is volumes 3 and 4. This is the front. It took me a while to figure out that you have to read it back to front. Also, can we just talk about these end papers? Look how pretty that was. I wish this whole thing was in color because it's so gorgeous. And I would talk more about this, but quite honestly, I don't know how to pronounce any of the characters' names because I'm not good with pronunciations. And then, yesterday, I literally sat down as soon as I finished the 10th Pendragon book and picked up Wing Poppy Midnight because I've been anticipating this book since it came out, even before it came out. And it's such a beautiful cover, and I was so ready for it. So I literally sat down and read it in probably a little over 2 hours. And I really enjoyed it. Like, it was not really what I was expecting, and it took a lot of, like, twists and turns I wasn't expecting either. And I love April Genevieve Toke's writing style. I think she's got a very creepy, spooky vibe to her writing. And I read her story in Slasher Girls and Monster Boys last October, and it was one of my favorites in that collection, so I was really excited to get to this. And I feel like her books, or at least this and the Slasher Girls and Monsters Boys story that I read, is a very good Halloween read. Like, it's got that eerie, creepy, kind of scary vibe if you're not, like, into horrifying things. And she is very graphic. Like, part of these scenes were really graphic and stuff. I think this would make a really good movie also. And that was everything I read because Pendragon took over my life and I literally didn't think about anything else the entire time. I'm going to try to show these to you, but I might die. Ah. Look at that. Look at those tabs. Oh. I just want everybody to read the Pendragon series. If the premise interests you at all, even though I did a terrible job of explaining it, please let me know and I will convince you to read it because more people need to read this series. That's everything that I read in the month of May. I'm really excited to get into the month of June because, for one, it's my birthday month. For two, Sam from Thoughts on Tomes is doing a Tome Topple readathon, which is a readathon meant for bigger books. And I'm actually going to be filming my TBR for that hopefully this week, so I'm excited about it. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.